And we're back. Thanks for returning and staying with us this morning for our second panelist, our second panel, which will explore inspiring collaboration, how the pandemic inspired collaborative work, changed our understanding of collaborations, and how technology has served as a vehicle for those efforts. And once again, yes, we have assembled another blue ribbon panel for you this morning. Let's meet them, starting on the opposite side with Steve Morse.
University Support Services.
I'm Kimberly Gill with the Department of Politics, Philosophy, and Public Administration.
Good morning. My name is Jennifer Knott. I'm with the Center of Online Learning.
Hi, I'm Grace Turner. I am a junior communication major.
Good morning. I'm Elizabeth Liz Mathis with School of Nursing.
Great. Thank you all for being part of the panel this morning. Steve, we'll actually start with you on our first question. We accepted the challenge to create a safe environment for students to live, eat, and play during the pandemic. Share an example of how this challenge inspired internal and external collaborations in university support services.
Sure. Well, back in March 2020, as we said in CCT, we had no idea what COVID-19 was going to bring to our world. As Dr. Markwood has brought up in his speeches to us several times, we need to work outside our silo. We need to get to know other departments and how they interact and what their needs are and what their expectations are. Well, COVID-19 sure did that for University Support Services. It really challenged our team. As the campus as a whole, our priority became health and safety. University Support Services, all our divisions had to pull together as one, which they did. I was very proud of them. We're one of the departments that were on campus throughout the duration of the pandemic. We had to figure out locally where we could get the supplies that was needed for the campus, how much supplies would be needed for the different divisions, how we were going to create physical distances in classrooms as we prepare for a safe return. We had to figure out how we were going to staff that. Grounds became custodians, because moving and setup became custodians. We were very fortunate that they were very flexible in how we did that. We worked with different agencies of how we get those supplies and when we would get those supplies to keep everybody safe for a safe return to campus.
Great. Thanks, Steve. Anybody else? Maybe Grayson, if you're open to it, maybe from a student's perspective, what did that look like?
For me, one important part of college for students is definitely how to find a way to include, your friends and sort of make new friendships in college. And that's kind of hard to do with COVID and social distancing. So one thing that I'd say people collaborated well with was housing did a great job of collaborating together to especially the community advisors, to create great events that students could still meet people at and still be safe. So for example, there was an event that I attended that I loved called Nightmare on Broadway, where the community advisors put together a great event where students were able to go through the different residence halls and sort of meet different people while they were trying to figure out like a murder mystery together. So housing did a great job of collaborating with each other.
Great. Thanks. You. Anybody else? Jennifer?
Yes, I'd like to add to that. Being the Center of Online Learning, we do everything online, including captioning for videos. So we want to make sure that the videos are accessible through Cougar View. We were able to actually onboard, I think it was at least 20 students that we onboarded and taught how to do captioning. And so these students were coming in from other departments when they could no longer go in and be present physically in those departments. So we were able to train them and they were able to continue doing that work and then help us out with getting the captioning done.
Great. That's an excellent example. Thank you. And then we'll transition to our second question. Liz, if I can direct this to you, what was the greatest challenge you faced in developing collaborations during the pandemic, and how did you and your colleagues meet this challenge?
Sure. Thanks for the question. Probably the biggest challenge that I came across is, you know, in healthcare sometimes and nursing, we refer to that, you know, no news is good news. And that doesn't translate into a world of technology per se. And when you're already struggling to get to know the students, you know, on a personal level so that you can mentor them and help them to be and reach the goals that they want, you have to be quite deliberate about checking in with them. And that sometimes looks different for everyone. It may be a Blackboard collaborate, you know, chat room for some. It could be a poll question for others. But taking that extra step to learn their personalities, because they will come through technology just like they would in the classroom as well. So, you know, if you notice that someone's not as participating as much as they usually would, you know, shoot them an email, form mentor groups. That is something that we do as we team teach. We have specific students that we reach out to and say, hey, how's it going? How's life? I've noticed that you haven't talked as much as you should. But so I think just being deliberate with that.
Great, thank you. Anybody else have an example or an observation? No? Well, this is a question for everyone. We'll start with Kimberly, though. COVID-19 continues to present countless opportunities for us to learn and grow. This Welcome Week focuses on lessons we've learned through the pandemic. Quickly share one lesson you've learned about leveraging collaborations during a crisis event.
So, I'm sorry. One of the lessons I've learned is that working with the Center for Experiential Learning and Career Design, we actually coordinated an online networking event for our students. And one of the lessons I've learned is don't limit yourself by what you think was possible. Kind of look outside. Now I've seen that we can network, as Dr. Markwood had mentioned, with people all over. I've also learned through collaborating with other units that it's crucial to share in your success as well as in your failures. Because from your failures, those are lessons. Those are lessons that other people can take and can learn from without actually having to do them themselves. And I've also learned to work with the entities we have on campus. Cool's a great example. I've had faculty who are very reluctant to teach online, but once now teaching online, that is something they are embracing wholeheartedly. So I think the lessons are don't be afraid to try. The lessons are reach out to the entities we have on campus. And when you're collaborating, look further than we would with our physical spaces. Those limitations are no longer there for us.
It's a great example. Great point. Thank you. Anyone else on the panel have a quick observation to share? Jennifer, I see you taking your mask off.
I would. Thank you. I really love what Kimberly had to say about moving online and losing those fears and actually realizing that technology is there to assist actually with the communication and collaboration. And I guess one of the lessons learned that we experienced was learning not only helping faculty, but faculty helping us and working together to find out what worked for them, what didn't work, and how those tools worked in certain circumstances.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Liz?
Yes, probably one of the biggest sort of lessons I learned, if you will, is be transparent, you know, with the students and with other faculty and say, hey, I've never done this before, but here's what we're going to do. And we're going to make a move and we're going to see what the chessboard of life sort of lays out there, what move they make next. And if it's a good move, then we'll continue on. And if it's not, then we'll pause and we'll think of another way to do it. But as long as the goals are met for the course, then it's okay. And it's okay to change direction, you know, midstream.
It's a great observation. Any others? Steve, you're unmasking, I see.
I'm taking it off.
That's a great cue.
Well, you know, for a department that does not normally use technology to communicate with their staff, and for the demand that was met for University Support Services, I think once our staff got comfortable using the technology and after we got everybody on Zoom and we realized how to take the mic off mute so they could all talk to one another, then we were able to communicate. And what was hard is, you know, we were on campus, but we could not see each other face to face. We were in different buildings, different areas to keep everybody safe, but you know, they didn't feel like part of a team. So when we were able to get on that Zoom call, they could have input, they could have face to face with one another. So using the technology is something we'll continue doing in our department that really helped bring us all together in a time that they felt separate. So.
No, I completely agree. We have formed our Office of Strategic Communication and Marketing during the pandemic, and we've not all been in a room together yet since forming in July. So certainly can empathize with the need to bring teamwork to a virtual environment. So Grayson, any thoughts you had?
One thing that I've definitely learned was just how important communication is, whether that be a class project and having to make sure that everyone in your group knows what's going on, because now with COVID, everything's online. So you need to make sure you talk to every single person in the group online. And then also whether I'm dealing with like a crisis as a housing assistant, making sure everyone in the chain of command needs to know what they need to know, and just how important communication is online has changed everything.
Absolutely. It's a great comment, great observation to close our panel with. We thank everyone for being here. We'll transition to our third panel here very quickly.